Good morning and welcome to day 4, number 106 with the man Frank Scalish.
Here we are.
Now, listen.
Do I look dark? Is my screen dark?
Your screen's a little dark, Uncle Frank. And he said, let there be light, and there was light.
More better?
More better. Now,
All
listen,
right.
we're supposed to be live on Thursday morning. This is the joys of doing live broadcasting. But then I remembered I had told Frank that we were going to go live on Wednesday because you were supposed to. This is a convoluted, twisted, and consorted tale, Uncle Frank.
It's very twisted.
So you were unaware that Redcrest was going to be on Lake Norman starting today. That's number one, correct?
That is very correct. Very accurate.
Number two, behind the scenes, I had agreed to film 106 live on Wednesday evening with you.
That also is correct.
Number three, I scheduled the extraterrestrial episode of Live with Matt Steffan and Brandon Polinick and Miles Berghoff for Wednesday night because I wrote it down on the wrong week on my calendar.
That
also is correct. And number four, the motor no longer works. The bane of your existence crapped out on you again. So you're not even at Lake Norman, but we still can't do live tomorrow because you're taking it back to the shop.
That's correct. That's 100%.
So here
everything
we are.
You just said is correct.
Here we are recording this show. It is Wednesday evening. It will air tomorrow on Thursday. So very up to date. We could talk about everything that is still going on. We're going to get into some deals. We're going to get into the motor. We are going to get into what you noticed on Lake Norman. And then we are going to get into cues that spring has sprung. That is, I guess, today's topic.
Right. Or nature. What nature can tell you.
What nature can tell you about catching a bass.
And the other thing, I have a story totally 100% related to the Making Jig Skirt episode that you guys won't want to miss because this is unbelievable. Like I'm not amazed by it, but I'm amazed by it.
What is the name of the soap As the World Turns? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, As the World Turns, I guess.
As Frank's Engine Idles is what we're calling this. So you have thousands of vested fans now who have listened to the soap opera that has been the motor for the past year. So let's kick things off there. What the heck happened to the Merc now?
Okay, so I get it fixed. I get everything on it's fixed. When I get home, we're still in the throes of winter. I can't really run the boat here, okay? But I went fishing a few times, cracked ice to get out, and as usual, slaughtered them pretty good because that's just what happens in the winter. And it idled fine, and I had no glitches, no issues, nothing. So the first real voyage, okay, I was headed down to Lake Norman to film some videos. I got a little bit behind on videos and I wanted to catch up and film some videos. So I planned this trip to Norman. My camera guy was in Georgia doing some videos. So he was going to meet me there, which was perfect. He was only 4 hours from me.
Yeah.
Everything was working out. So the first day I get there, I hook up with my buddy Troy. You guys all know who he is. You've seen him on the show before. So me and Troy hook up and we go out fishing. And I said, hey, we're not going to anywhere we catch them. We're going to all new stuff. We're going to look around. We're going to try stuff. I have the Bomber Next Gen, the Model A bombers, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, etc. Just came out in the next gen colors, and I have to do a promo video on that. I want to do a video on the deep flat A's because I don't think they get enough attention. So let's just go look for a bite. So we go out, and of course, slick, flat, no wind, dead calm. You can kiss the crankbait bite goodbye. It was hard to catch them. I mean, I caught one on the flat A every day. So I had another video that I was doing, the Yum Helgramite You guys, we talked about
That was
this.
in the Bank and Creek bag as a kind of a surprise lure last week or a couple weeks ago that you said was
Correct.
going to be a player.
Correct. So I was amped up to get this thing in the water. So before I left, I poured about 50 weedless net heads with with the weedless hook, not with a weed guard, the weedless hook.
So it's got like an offset hook. It's got the bend in it.
Right, 100%. So I poured a bunch of them, and I thought the 5/32 would be heavy enough and heavy enough to skip and cast, light enough so it won't just go boom straight down. So it'll kind of swim down. So anyway, the long and short of it is, we go out there with the Helgramite, and unbelievable. The fish, they wanted it, they ate it. We threw all kinds of other stuff at them, and that was the deal for us. But now keep this in mind. I was avoiding anywhere that I normally catch them. So there's certain areas of the lake where I know very, very well.
For the filming, because you wanted to make sure it was fresh.
I wanted to keep it fresh. Plus, I didn't realize red crest was down there. And
practicing, not during the tournament yet.
Right, practicing. And I also didn't realize the high school championship was down there.
Oh my gosh. So Norman was getting pounded. So at what point did you realize that Redcrest was down there? Did Kevin go whipping past you or something at one point and you went, uh-oh?
No, Frankie called me on my way down.
Oh, I got you. But you're fine. I mean, you're just one man, and it's, the tournament didn't start till today, which is Wednesday. So yesterday, which is where you're doing it. And it's only 40 guys. And it's a big ass lake.
Yeah, it's massive. So at any rate, I wasn't really concerned. Okay.
Right.
I realized after the second day that I'm not getting a good crankbait show out of the deal.
Uh-oh.
So I did an about face. I decided I wasn't going to chase a lure. I was going to chase the fish, and the fish would dictate what
Sounds
video.
Like a good Helgramite bite to me.
Right. The Helgramite was a money video. It was going to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm like, okay, cool. There's other baits I throw there that the bite was doing good, and so I'm like, okay, cool. And like I said, I wasn't going anywhere where I normally go, so I was pretty confident. Anyway, the third day, I think I was on the lake. I was running down the lake, and I'm just cruising 67 miles an hour, no big whoop, just going, and the boat's running, and then all of a sudden it goes and keeps right on going like nothing. And I'm like, my heart sunk, because it ain't supposed to do that, even though it kept going and nothing, never missed a beat, but something was up. So the rest of the day, nothing. The boat performed beautifully, got on plane in a second. I mean, everything was good, no big deal. So the fourth day we were there, Troy's wife wanted to fish with us. So I'm like, yeah, let's load her in the boat. Let's go. So she had something to do in the morning, so we couldn't get out until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I said, well, that's cool. So I went outside, I waxed the boat down, and was diving through some compartments because I wanted to make some tackle changes, because now I'm going to start fishing like I need to fish to find fish. So I make some tackle changes, and ow, my cat is scratching me to death.
Oh, got to show the cat anytime there's a pet mention on BTL.
Where did it go?
Wrangle Bam in.
Come here, Bams. Come here. Come on. Come on. Oh, she ran behind the desk.
Oh, okay. Well, so, yeah, I would too if I scratched Uncle Frank.
Oh, yeah. So anyhow, this goes to the jig episode that we did the other day, making jig skirts. So I'm pulling something out of one of my compartments, and there's a rolled up plastic bag on the underneath everything, but out of a box. And I'm like, how did those skirts get out of the box? You know what I mean? So I grabbed it, and we have her.
Hey,
right
up,
there.
Babe? There she is.
Look it up. What's up, baby girl? All right. So anyhow, so there you go. So anyhow, so swear to God, I got the
Uh,
bag of skirts and I unroll it, and there's a label on it, and it says Norman Lake Special.
oh,
I'm like, get out of here. I mean, I must have made those 25 or 30 years ago.
no
Okay.
way.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's no way I found these. So I get my jig box out. I get one of my jigs out. I put the skirt on. I trim it up. I get a spine craw trailer, put it on, dye the little tips of the pincher chartreuse, tie it on my rod. And I go, come on, Troy, let's get out of here. And he goes, all right, we're going. I said, I got to show you something. You're not going to believe it. And so I show him the jig, and he goes, oh my God, dude, you made those skirts like 3 decades ago. I go, yeah, I know. I found them in the bottom of the compartment. I don't know how they fell out of my jig box, but they
Yeah.
did. And so I said, so I'm putting it on because it used to be a killer down there.
So you
So
kind of have to now,
I
just the
got to,
odds.
got to. So no lie. The first pitch with that thing, I catch a 3-pounder.
Which is massive down there
Yeah,
right now.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then Troy smacks a giant one on a floating worm, and then I catch another one on the jig, and I catch another one on the jig, and I'm like, there ain't, there's no way, there's no way. I threw a jig one of the days, almost, alternating between 3 rods the whole day, and never got a bite, never got a sniff on it. Soon as I put that skirt, that skirt that I made for that lake on, I catch 3 in a row on it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So,
That's
anyways,
freaking cool.
yeah. So back to the jig skirt thing. So that night we were talking about making the day we were talking about making skirts. Um, I always mess around with skirts on certain lakes, and I even told you guys that I have certain colors for certain lakes that aren't my mainstays everywhere else I go.
Hmm.
So I label them by the lake, like the
That's
Lake
smart.
Norman Special. Okay, so I know that that's when I go to Lake Norman, that's got to be on a jig. And it was just I started laughing, and I told Troy the whole story about the show and making the jigs and everything, and that just, I mean, that just, and here's what I don't, this is what is amazing to me. Okay. I literally made those things like 30 years ago.
Yeah, how was the band still rubbery?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I used the high quality mouse ears, and then I stored them in the Ziploc bag, squeeze all the air out of them,
Okay.
and zip
So
them
yeah,
shut.
so they were, I mean, anywhere else they'd be dry rotted.
Oh yeah, no, there was no dry. The skirts were kind of stuck together. I had to pull
Yeah.
them all the tentacles apart. But it was, but that's what I mean. There's, gosh, there's just, when things happen like that, it makes you feel good because it's like, God, I made that skirt so long ago and it still works today,
Hmm.
which is crazy.
That's good stuff. So
Yeah.
at this point, the motor has made one little deal, but it's still fine.
No. So the
Oh
day that
no.
the 3 of us were in the boat, we ran to 3 or 4 spots, started seeing a lot of fishing pressure from some of the high school anglers. And so I said, "Look, I got another place I want to go hit. I got about, 5 places I want to go hit. Let's just go. Let the high schoolers have this area, and let's go." And I go to put the boat up on plane, and it won't get up on plane.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I'm pressing it and pressing it, and it's not doing good.
It's just brrr, just plowing.
Yeah, just plowing and dying. And so I said,
I'm
we're
sure you said a lot of things,
I
Frank.
said a lot, but I also was kind of stoic. And I said, well, here's the deal. We're too far away from the boat launch to idle all the way there and or trolling motor all the way there. So I'm going to do everything I can to get the boat on plane. I told Troy, you get up on the front deck. If the front deck starts coming down, stay there until it's on plane, and then crawl your ass back to the seat. So we did that. I got on plane, and I kept it at about 4,200 RPMs the whole way back, and never had a hiccup, ran smooth as silk.
Huh.
And so we got off the lake, and I said, Red Crest is here. Let's drop Michelle off at the house. Let's run up to the service crew and go to the Mercury trailer. Not that they'll take they won't take anybody except the people that are in the event.
Right.
But I
But
wanted to
you're Frank Scalish.
well, no, I wanted to take a gamble because what if it was one of the guys that was running doing the Bassmaster stuff
Yep.
when I was doing Bassmasters. So I wanted to take a chance and I didn't need him to go into my motor. I needed him to talk to me.
Mhm.
Well, sure enough, he was leaving, so I jumped out and flagged him down. He stopped, and then I told him everything that was going on with the motor, everything that I had done to the motor from day one. And he said, "That's your low low power, low range electric fuel pump that's in the side of your motor that controls when you mash the throttle down. It gives the fuel so you can get up on
So is
plane."
this new or has this been
No,
old?
this is a brand new issue.
Oh,
It's a brand
fantastic.
new issue. So I said, hold on. So I called Tim at Fast Bass Marine,
Yep.
got him on the phone. So I got Tim in one ear, I got the Mercury guy in the other ear, and we're going back and forth, back and forth. In the meantime, he's almost 1,000% sure that's what it is because there's two pumps in the motor and one pump outside the motor. And I told Tim, I said, order all the pumps. We're replacing every single one of them, whether they need to be or not. We're replacing all of them. I want all brand new pumps. So he said, okay. So I said, I'll leave tomorrow and I'll come and give you the boat on Thursday.
So when this episode airs on Thursday morning, you will be on your way to Fast Bass Marine.
That is true. That is a fact. I will be by the time this show airs, I will be probably just getting out of Ohio.
You're taking it better than I thought you would, Frank, because you had the hope that everything was copacetic.
Yeah, I am.
Are
I've
you in
had
denial?
yeah. No, because I've had a couple of days to punch things and throw things and whine like a baby.
But this had
So
nothing to do with the marine dealership or the people who worked on it. This was something that just happened with the
yeah, this was completely different because Tim hooks up the computer. He hooks up all the pressure pumps and runs the boat while all the computer stuff's going on and
Mhm.
everything. So he gets accurate info feed. And so he had straightened everything out. And so consequently now he's going to have to do that all again. But this time, because it could be particulate matter got on the screen of the fuel pump. One little thing the size of a sesame seed
Mhm.
will cause this. So rather than monkey around, we're going to flush the entire system, clean everything out, replace all the pumps,
I
and
like it.
yeah, because so I can't take a chance. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
especially being on Erie and stuff
yeah,
all the time. You got to have the utmost confidence in it.
right. And so the other plan is um, repower it, just put a four stroke on it.
I know,
Um,
but you put so
yeah,
much effort into this one. I feel like you're committed to this one. I mean, you basically have a new motor.
well, yeah, everything is new on it. Yeah, everything is new on it. So I'm gonna do this last thing. If this motor doesn't straighten out after this, I'll have a four stroke on it.
All right. You mentioned that you were at Lake Norman during practice for
Yeah,
Red Crest today. Today is the second day of Red Crest, so it's been one day. 4 bags over 15. Dustin Connow leading with 16. Ayler,
yeah,
Edwin, and Jacob Wheeler 15 11, 15 6, 15 3 out of the 40 anglers. 18 of them cracked the 12-pound mark, and 34 of them cracked the 10-pound mark. There are still, it's currently going on now, and there's 4 days after this. So give
right,
us a
right.
little rundown of Norman, what stage the fish are in, what the hell's going on down there, Frank.
All right. Well, all the trees are blooming down there. And when those trees bloom, and I'm not sure what they are, what trees they are down there, not magnolias. Hell, I forgot the name of the tree down there. But when those trees bloom, the bass are going to the bank. The thing with Norman is because of the spotted bass population. Um, There's a lot of fish.
Dogwoods? Are there
Yeah,
dogwoods around?
dogwoods. That's what it is. Dogwoods.
Okay.
Good. Way to go.
I
Way to
couldn't. I was.
go.
I googled blooming trees around Lake Norman, and all I came up with was botanical gardens in North Carolina. So anyway,
No, yeah,
continue.
it's dogwoods.
Yeah.
Good call. So the bass are doing a lot of things. Now here, look, we slid real shallow to go check to see if there were any spawners because there will be spawners. Um, we found one bed, an actual bed. Nothing was on it, so I assumed one of the college kids probably plucked her off of it because it was an obvious, big bowl with the shells in the bottom, typical of Norman's beds. Um, and the fish was gone. But we also found three 3-pounders in 2 feet of water on a branch, just a branch.
Really?
Yeah, and they were getting ready to do the deal, and Troy chucked a floating worm on them and caught one of them, and the other two took off and never came back. But so there were some super shallow, but there was not a whole lot of fish doing that. Most of our fish were coming from, I would say, roughly 6 to 10 feet deep. Most of the fish were coming. Jerk bait's real good. I wasn't doing a jerk bait episode, but the jerk bait would be good because I hook a fish under a floating dock and there'd be 5 come out with it. So and every fish took the hellgrammite on the fall. None of them took it when it was on the bottom. They all took it on the drop. So that means they were suspending underneath the stuff and they were eating them on the drop.
What were you throwing? Were you throwing that on a spinning rod or a bait caster?
I was throwing that on a spinning rod.
Okay.
Yeah, spinning rod. 10-pound braid, 8-pound fluoro.
Okay. Just skipping it, pitching it, casting it around the docks, the dugout
Yeah.
docks, to the poles, that type of stuff.
Right, underneath the pontoons of the docks, in between there, poles. Wood poles were better than metal poles. Typical stuff. You look
Yeah.
for little nuances. And docks with deeper water on them were way better than the shallow flat ones. Although I did catch a few out of the mud in a shallow flat one, but most of them came from the deeper docks, and they had to have deep water access nearby.
So
That
pretty
was the other thing.
typical
Very
pre-spawn
typical.
stuff.
Very, very, very typical. And then I slung around a wacky rig dinger in some of the custom colors, and which brings me to another thing. You guys got to check LureNet out. There's deals all over the place right now for March Madness, but they just made the 4-inch dingers in 9 of their custom colors, and there's a new one in the dinger. It is Northern Lights. Northern Lights is the real deal. That's a good color. And then, of course, my favorite color is GB Haze. I mean, I won't even leave the house without that color.
$3.49 for a pack of the Yum Dinger and Northern Lights.
Right, and then you got all the other ones, GB Haze and all of them. But and I like Northern Lights and GB Haze the best. Those are my favorites. But I like them a lot too because I do a lot of smallmouth fishing with them as well.
The 4-inch, are you drop shotting that for smallmouth or putting it on a Ned head or
both? When I won Buffalo, I was throwing the 4-inch dinger and an Erie darter on a 3/8 ounce jig head. That's how I won Buffalo. The one tournament that I fished out of Cleveland, I took 3rd in the Bassmaster event. I was doing a little bit of everything. I was drop shotting them, jig head fishing them. The second day, the first day I caught them all shallow. The second day I had to go deep. Actually the second day was canceled because of gale warnings. So technically it was the 3rd day, but the second day of competition.
I feel like Rust Vegas is a pretty badass color.
Rust Vegas is a great color, and it's a great selling color.
I mean, it looks like it catches both fish and fishermen.
It
and
does.
The name too.
Yeah, it's really cool because what you can't really see in the picture on Rust Vegas is that's like a purpley pink pearl on the one side. So it actually has a back color to it. And it's a real subtle, but it's nice. It's a nice pearl. It's a really nice pearl. So then, and then also on LureNet, they got bulk bundles, 20% off. So when you buy 6 of whatever, it's, the bundles, you get 20% off, which is nice. Christie Critters are on special. CC Spoons are on special. Super Spots are on special. And then if there's any walleye guys listening, the Bandit Brotan is on special also, which is a walleye trolling bait. Great bait.
You
Great
have
baits.
to forgive me here. LureNet has redesigned their website, and I'm not familiar with how to get to all of the different things to pull up.
Yeah, it's they're constantly trying to make everything better over
Is
there.
that because we crashed the site with the BTL listeners color number 7 and they're trying to figure out how to handle it for when those things get back in stock?
Yeah, I think I don't think that's it. I think it's I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were changing. They were changing.
Tread lightly here.
Yeah, they were changing some format around on this thing or some program, something like that. So yeah, but you could go on there, you'll find it. It'll be under specials, bulk bundles. Um, and every week through the entire month of March is going to be crazy stuff going on. So you got to pay attention. But the super spots, good deal. The bundles, great. The bundles are great deals. And the 4-inch
Okay, here it
dingers
is.
in the new colors, finally.
What's hot this month?
Yeah, I don't. There might even be a paint shop color called Lights Out.
I'm trying to get there.
I know, don't stress about it.
Under the paint shop. Oh.
You got Lights Out on there or
No.
something? What do you got?
I got a new one.
What do you got?
Crusty old threadfin?
Oh yeah. Flash that bad boy up there for a minute.
Dude, that's a unique color.
Yeah, in the deep flat A, that's good.
That's a really good color, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's see what.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at this.
Yeah, that's a good color. That's right.
Crusty old threadfin. Look, I love that shot that they do. A pearl base coat.
Oh, the 7A, that's even better yet. Oh yeah, see the purple and blue on the shoulders when it was running in the water? That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
The Bomber 7A.
Yeah, I like the 7A because it gets down to good depth with that 7A. I mean, you could bang the bottom in 9 feet with that. It's a good alternative bait. And the thing about the Bomber Model A's, the way that build design is, it comes through the rocks really good, and I can even get it through the grass. Little tricky and heavy timber, just because of the nature of the bill. It's a little bit tricky in the heavy timber, but if you're careful with it, you can walk it through it. But you gotta work yourself through that.
I like it. That's good stuff. Hey, let's wrap up Red Crest and what you expect. So I just got the press release from the day one. Dustin Connell, like I said, 16-7 leading. But the field as a whole, all top 40 guys average 9.075 keepers per angler. So almost 2 limits per angler. What seemed to be the key in your experience there to get the better than average bite? Because it seems like that place, and from my experience in the open, just chock full of 1.6s to 1.15s.
Tons of them. The real funny thing about that lake is areas. There's certain areas that produce better fish. And when you're in those areas that produce better fish, you'll catch them doing an array of things. But here, you're going to catch a little bit better quality on the jerk bait. You're going to catch a little bit better quality on a jig. But if you're pitching a weightless wacky rig dinger around the docks in the 5-inch size, you could upgrade that way too. But with Norman, the thing that I know about Norman for a fact is you have to be in the areas that produce big ones to catch big ones. Because if you're just dinking around, you're going to catch a lot of fish, but they're not going to be quality.
So historically, this would be an example of doing your homework to figure out where the better quality fish and the tournament wins typically come from.
Well, yeah, except that um like there could be an area in a specific creek. There could be an area on the main lake, a specific area on the main lake. The other thing that happens on Norman a lot, most of the bites there are predicated on wind. So that's a lake where you have to run a wind pattern. And you could get fat and happy and in a hurry running the wind, because when you get to the right place with the wind on it, generally speaking, you're going to have a much better quality bite. And that's kind of the trick to Norman. Um, the one thing I haven't done on that lake, believe it or not, I've been fishing it for, holy smokes, I don't even know how many years, probably over 30. The one thing I haven't done on that lake is fished it in the summertime, pure structure fishing,
Hmm.
where I'm going to ignore everything on the bank. That's the thing I really want to do down there, because I think there's a whole faction of bass that are being highly overlooked. And if I can figure that out, then I'll be able to catch those fish when the other fish are starting to gravitate to the bank. There's always pre-spawners that don't go to the bank yet, and I'll be able to target those fish. And that's really what I want to do. So now we're going to go around to another story. So a lot of the guys that are doing really good are totally relying on forward facing sonar, because they're seeing them and they're casting to them and they're catching them. And they're not relying on it like I got to use this to find the fish. They're going to
Hmm.
the areas where the fish are at, and they're fishing traditionally. And when they scan, they see one, they throw the jerk bait out to it, and they catch it. And generally, those are better quality fish um, that they're catching. So now we're talking about forward facing sonar. Matt, are you sitting down? Of course
I'm
you are.
sitting down.
Of
Yes.
course you are. So I got, thanks to my son, who upgraded all of his electronics on his boat to the highest quality of electronics you can purchase. Um,
Hmm.
Teed me off his forward facing sonar and his 12-inch carbon. So now the Blue Machine will have forward facing sonar. So I'm I'm pumped. So now I get to play with it, and once I get good at it, then I'll upgrade to the higher quality stuff.
That's a that's breaking news.
It's very breaking, dude.
You gotta stay with some traditional stuff though. We have to make sure that we don't go all forward facing now.
No, we're not
All
going to,
live scope.
because I'm an old guy, man, and I like my 2D and I like my side imaging. So I'm just going to use it to enhance my performance.
Well, that's
And,
fantastic.
and of course, I'm going to use it to catch all these crappie around here that nobody can catch.
All right. So they've got 61, 63, 60, 55, and 43 for the upcoming weather conditions with lows in the 30s, 2 days of rain, some days of sun. We saw a little bit of bed fishing play. Is that going to be pretty much done after the first couple days of the full field, do you think? Or will fish still be moving up even with lows on Norman and Redcrest 34, 45, 35, 34, 36?
I think there's still going to be fish moving up. I mean, it's just that time of year. They're going to be moving up. The full moon was a couple days, I think, before Redcrest started, and
Hmm.
there was a small movement of fish coming up, but they're getting real close to where they want to be. I personally think the fishing's probably going to get better as the tournament progresses.
Okay.
That's just how it goes. I mean, you can miss Norman by one day, and 2 days later the lake's on fire, and everybody's catching 60 fish a day. That's just how Norman is. It's a very fickle animal.
Did you mess with the largemouth at all? I think we saw a 6-pounder get caught today,
No,
but
no, I didn't even monkey with them. When I go down there, to be honest with you, I go down there to catch spotted bass. I don't get a chance to catch them up here where I live anymore. We used to have a pretty good population in the Ohio River, but it's kind of waned.
yeah, I wonder, why do spotted bass not thrive in the north? Like, you would think that the deep, clear lakes. I mean, I don't understand why there's no spots
I don't know.
in
I
like the Great Lakes.
Oh my God, dude! If they put spotted bass in Lake Erie, it'd be crazy.
But there has to be some reason why there has to be some sort of line that they don't really survive above.
Well, we had them in the Ohio River, and we had them when I was younger. I mean, that's what you would win a lot of the tournaments on some of the northern pools with spotted bass. But then the smallmouth started taking over. And once the smallmouth took over, you got to be fishing for the smallmouth. And so that's just the way it goes,
But
you
there's
know?
a bunch of fisheries that have all three. I mean, Oklahoma is probably the best example
Yeah.
of lakes with
Well,
the
Table Rock.
ability to catch. Yeah, Oklahoma, that Ozark area is probably the best example
Yeah,
in the country of a place where you can catch a 4-pound smallmouth, a 4-pound largemouth, and a 4-pound spot.
absolutely.
And that's very unique. So it's obviously cohabitation is not an issue.
No, because they do different things. They behave differently. All three of them do. So there's times when they'll overlap. Certain times of the
Mhm.
year they'll overlap, but for the most part, you're not going to have too much of an overlap. Um, but yeah, just up here they just don't. They're just not. They don't do it up here. I mean, it's
Sure.
largemouth or smallmouth. We don't, which is sad because I love fishing for spotted bass. I'll tell you another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to start going to Lake Lanier. Um,
That's probably not a bad idea.
yeah, because that place has big giant spotted bass and it's a structured fisherman's paradise. And
Mhm.
so I want to start going there. I've never been there in my life, actually. And I've been on the Coosa River and caught those big giant Coosa River spots, and that's a lot of fun. But I want to get on them and do my homework and drag football jigs and Carolina rigs and big giant crankbaits and catch those spots.
Most
That's
of that
really
sounds
what I want
fun.
to do. Yeah.
Oh, guess what I did in the Bassmaster Open during competition last week?
You sea rig, baby.
I threw a Carolina rigged lizard.
Nice. Did you get any on it?
Caught exactly 0 bass on it.
God bless it, Matt. Okay, we're going on a Carolina rig adventure. You and I,
No, I'm in.
you and I, we're gonna I'm gonna teach you the proper Carolina rig etiquette, and you are
Okay.
gonna catch some of your biggest bass you ever caught on a Carolina rig
To put a bow on the spotted bass, I actually had a pet spotted bass for over 2 years.
in an aquarium or in a pond.
In a round aquarium. I caught him on Lake Thunderbird, the lake that does not have spotted bass on it, and he was approximately 8.5 inches at the time. 8.5, 9 inches. Cute little spotted bass. And I said, "Oh God,
Okay,
this will work for aquarium, right?" I think it was a
absolutely.
50 gallon aquarium. And I named him SMIM, CMIM, which is an acronym for Cash Money Ice Millionaire. So SMIM. What?
What the hell kind of name is that, dude?
That's the greatest name ever. His name was Little Smim, Cash Money Ice Millionaire.
All right, I'm
And
buying it.
I would get
Was he a rapper?
he was in charge of that aquarium for sure. But I'd get him to where he'd follow my finger, and I mean, we were buddies. He was right next to the. It was the first living thing I saw when I woke up in the morning, most mornings, and I would feed him either half a dozen goldfish from PetSmart
Perfect.
or a dozen minnows.
Perfect.
I mean, I'd have people go into my apartment and feed Smim while I was on the road covering the Elite Series or fishing tournaments or whatnot. Tragedy struck Smim, though.
Uh-oh.
One of the 7 deadly sins got the best of him. And he was probably close to a 12-inch keeper by the time he
I'm gonna
made his.
say gluttony.
What made you guess that? Because he's a spotted bass?
Yeah, because he's a spotted bass, and they'll gorge them. They'll chase them minnows down and have 5 tails sticking out of their mouth and try and eat another one.
That's what happened to Smim. And He ate one too many one day, and literally I watched as he went belly up.
You couldn't
And
grab
I'm
them and
sitting
pull
there
them out?
going, I tried. I'm going, Smith, no, no. And he gorged himself to death.
There you have it.
I mean, it was piranha water in there, just and
Oh,
I
yeah.
got too many of the goldfish, and it never occurred to me like, hey, don't put them all in at once. And I put them all in at once, and he chased them all down until they were gone and basically exploded.
That's outstanding, dude.
I still remember it. He was the best. And I've had a lot of fish in my day, a lot of pet fish. He's the best pet fish I've ever had. Spotted bass named Smith.
That's
R.I.P.
perfect, dude. I had a 150-gallon tank. I had a couple largemouth in it, a couple crappie, some bluegill, and a couple walleye in it.
Oh, the walleye lived, huh?
Yeah, they were little dudes.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And the thing about it was I wanted to put smallmouth in there, but I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't.
You think they would have lived?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I know they would have because uh the Blue Heron Communications PR firm
Mhm.
used to have an office right here, or not here, but in Norman. And when you walked in, you like walked inside, so you're inside, and you walked over a little bitty like bridge, right? And they had a 3-foot deep pool in there, and one end went down to probably 4 or 5 foot, but it was the size of 2 kiddie pools put together.
I
But it had
gotcha.
the trickling brook down. It was a mood setter, right?
Okay, if you tell me that.
They had like a 6-pound smallmouth that lived in there for like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do fine. The nice thing about native species is you don't have to deal with heating the water. You don't have to deal with any of that. All you have to do is give them sufficient habitat and food, and they'll live.
And
And
they would
don't
go
it,
buy them big shiners and stuff and toss them to them.
oh yeah, and just don't get them. Don't make sure you don't get them parasites. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean that lived for 5 years. All right, you mentioned it earlier in the show, and I think we need to circle back and talk a little bit about this. But that is nature's cues to kind of give you an idea
Yeah,
of what is going on the water before you even get there or while you're there. You were talking about the trees blooming.
right. So in the springtime, flowers will tell you a lot. Um, and anybody that lives on Kentucky Lake will tell you about the yellow flowers on Kentucky Lake. Um, so what I do is as I travel, like when I was traveling to Norman, as I was moving down, I was seeing buds on trees.
Okay.
Okay. So then I started looking for the willow trees because when the willow trees start to bud, you're getting spring movement. Those fish are wanting to go
So you
shallow.
don't have to, you didn't know anything that was going on, but you're already getting an idea of
Yeah.
what stage the fish are in this time
Just
of year based on what you're seeing on the road as you approach the lake.
100%. And so, but when I got into North Carolina, as soon as I got through the mountains, I saw my first dogwood tree bloom, and I was like, "Uh-oh, this is going to happen." And then the closer I got to Lake Norman, all the trees were blooming.
Which
So
means spawning fish.
yeah, that means they're spawning or about to be spawning. And so that was one clue. The other thing I do is I look at nature itself, the animals around the lake itself. If I see a lot of deer and a lot of turkey and they're moving, the fish are moving too. The fish are active.
Is that
When
a
you
pressure thing?
I'm not 100% sure. It very well can be, but when the deer are active in the morning, like driving to the boat ramp, you're seeing deer everywhere. You're
Mm-hmm.
seeing turkey everywhere. Um, I know it's going to be a good day to fish. I know the fit. It could be a bad day if you make the wrong decisions, but I know the fish should be active. And so I pay attention to that. The other thing I pay attention to on the lake is when where am I seeing bait fish? Am I seeing bait fish running banks? Am I seeing bait fish in the milling around out in the middle? Am I seeing them on my locator on structure? This gives me locations now, what to key in on. Bluegills. This time of year, the bluegills are pretty important. So where am I seeing bluegills? If I go shallow, am I seeing bluegills everywhere, or am I only seeing them on suspending under docks
Mhm.
halfway back? You know what I mean? So I pay attention to where I'm seeing the bait fish, because the bait fish tell you a lot too, and that's pretty much the clues. But most of the time, I look at the animals. In the spring, you got to look at foliage and
Okay.
the animals. In the summertime, I look at the animals. If the animals are moving, if the fish are going to be
So
active.
that's kind of the same thing. Is that the old wives' tale that, hey, if the cows are laying down when you're headed to the lake, fish probably aren't going to be biting that good. But if the cows are up milling around and walking and in the field and stuff, hey, you might do pretty well.
Right. I mean, because animals tell you a lot. I mean, they just do. And just pay attention to it, and it can let you know that you should be catching them, and if you're not catching them, you need to switch what you're doing.
Yeah, I know this sounds weird, but it's true. So I used to take Highway 9. I think I've told this. I might maybe have told this once before. I took Highway 9 out to Lake Thunderbird every night for the Wednesday nighter, every Wednesday. And I could tell how good the fishing was going to be on that 21-mile stretch of Highway 9 based, and this is a little bit morbid, based on how much fresh roadkill was on Highway 9. If I was seeing skunks and possums and raccoons that weren't, a week old, it seemed to me like the fishing was better because everything was freaking moving,
Yeah.
especially earlier in the year like that too. Because
Well, you're
it's not, there's no habitation. It's all like nature stuff that you're running when you're driving out there. More
and
roadkill, the better is basically
the
what I'm getting
and
at.
the funny thing is, every animal you named is a nocturnal animal, so they're moving at night,
I got you.
which is a good indication that things are going on, because they're out and about. You know
That
what I
that's
mean?
weird. I mean, you wouldn't think that there'd be a relation between deer and turkey and a spotted bass, but there is something in nature. I mean,
Yeah.
that you talk to anybody that's done this for a long time, and everyone knows that's a thing.
Well, because they're all animals.
Yeah.
They're all animals, I always pay attention to
So
that stuff.
are you gonna go more reaction baits, hunting, big? If you're like, buck jumps out in front of you, or you see a bunch of turkeys frolicking in the meadow. Are you more what? Don't laugh at. Is that not the terminology?
Yeah, they're frolicking.
Are you more likely to go with like a swim bait, a reaction bait, a topwater bait, something that those fish are going to track down, as opposed to, like you said, a Helgramite or a Texas rig or something to start out with? Are you going to go
Yeah,
more aggressive and cover water?
I'm liable not to start finesse fishing quite yet. Um, if I do, it'll be quick shots at a stump, quick shots at a dock, just to keep them honest. And then if something happens, then I can start to hone down that pattern. That's kind of how I do it. But you got to remember too, when you get on the lake, wind is going to tell you a lot. Water clarity is going to tell you stuff. There's other variables once you get on the water. But when you see the nature moving, you get an idea of what's going on in the animal world. And then once you get on the water and see the conditions of the lake, you can start applying techniques for those conditions, and you should come out okay. Um, you know, I've been on lakes where I've made the wrong decision and thought they were the worst lakes in the world, and then other people would swear to God it's the best lake on the planet.
Have you seen
Um,
Jordan Lee's new apparel line?
I have
Speaking of
not.
which, Day 4 apparel still available. Uh,
Day four.
basszone.com under the merchandise tab. And
Perfect.
then next week is the 16th, and we will have dates for where times and dates for when you'll be able to meet Uncle Frank at the Bassmaster Classic.
Yay. See the fans in person.
Did I cut you off there? Were you talking about something
I was
important?
absolutely not.
I thought maybe you were done, but I had as a note here, make sure to mention the classic and stuff
And the day 4 merch.
and the day 4.
You did not cut me off.
Okay.
I was actually finished with my thought process.
Now we're just full on bloviating.
Now we are full. This is real bloviation. Just all I want to do is remind you guys the custom colors are in the 4-inch dingers. You got to go out and get them. Two of my
What were the two colors? Yeah.
yeah, two of my absolute favorites are Northern Lights and GB Hayes.
Hey, have you messed around with a 4-inch Yum Dinger on that flick shake head with the little weight on the hook in
Oh,
the middle that makes
absolutely.
the ends go blah, 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 instead of
Absolutely.
just weightless?
100%,
Isn't
dude.
that really perfect for the 4-inch dinger is to put it on the flick shake head?
Dude, I fished the 5 and the 4 on the flick shake.
Really?
Yeah, I fish the flick shake before I fish weightless.
Okay.
Always. I just go to a real light flick shake. Because because if you I got a video out there flick shaking and I got underwater footage of it. When it goes down, it swings like this as it's sinking on the flick shake. And as it's sinking, the ends are doing that. So it's going like that and like that and like that. And I got the best footage on that. You have to see it to believe it.
Oh, we're fixing to see it, Uncle Frank.
Oh, you're getting it now?
Yeah. We're actually just going to start at the beginning. Now we won't have audio with it, but
Well, you're going to start it at the beginning?
well, yeah, just because your hand motion of the motion it makes is hilarious.
This?
You're about picture your hand as the flick shake.
All right, there's another one. Go to the other one. Wait, no, the video will be in here.
Was this it?
No, I have another. Did you see that grass on that depth finder though? That was good, man.
Let's try to find this underwater stuff.
There's another
not in this one.
It should have been. Whoop, go back. Yeah, check it out.
Oh. Oh, yeah, there you can see it a little bit.
Did you see the little bluegill tracking it down?
Oh, yeah, there it is right there. Yeah, that's a very much more effective way to cover water and get a bait down than just a weightless.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And this video here is actually in the summer, offshore.
All right, I'll be finding the other one.
It should be more recent, I believe, if it ran. I think it ran. Maybe it didn't run yet.
No, it did. Flick Shake Secrets.
Yeah, there you go.
That one. Right next to the motor.
Yeah, I got so on this particular video here is a great video because I start out fishing and I'm catching a lot of little ones. And so this is after the spawn, okay? So what I do here is I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to actually find the bigger fish.
Watch this right here. Ooh, do you see that? That's the juice right there, isn't it?
Isn't that money?
Where it does the little booty shake. Watch, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the flick shake. That's the magic of the flick shake, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, that's it.
See it?
Where it just goes.
Yep.
But so if you see the little ones I'm catching?
Yep.
All right, so go towards the end. Go all the way, yeah, right there. Now I back the boat way out off of that. And now watch the size difference. And we tanked them after the video. We went fishing for fun and we smoked them. And we caught big ones. Nice ones. But here, and it was a matter of backing out 5 feet deeper.
Oh yeah, you know when you try to boat flip them and they bounce off the gunnel, that's a dandy.
Yeah, wait till you see what I tried to boat flip on 8-pound fluoro. You're gonna laugh at me.
You tried to boat flip that one, and it's a pretty nice one.
Right. But yeah, so I backed out, got way out, and all the bigger fish were there, and we literally sat there and caught them one right after the other, and never caught another little one after that. But up until I got out far enough, um, we stayed and caught little ones until I got out far enough.
Let me just pull this up.
And all those videos are on LureNet YouTube.
Just so people know about that hook that's perfect with it.
Yeah, I'm using the Zapu one, but you can use whatever. You know, Gamakatsu makes one. I'm sure other companies make them.
That's the actual Jackal flick shake hook right there.
Yeah, I don't use the weed guard though.
Okay.
And I'll start out with the 3/32.
There's a bunch of different ones.
Like yeah, I think
a Woo and a Nietzsche.
And then that's the one I use right there. The inch wacky.
Mm-hmm. The Zapu Inchi King Cobra wacky hook.
Yeah, that's the one that I use. I have really good success with that hookup ratio on that hook. It just does good.
And that's perfect for that 4 and 5 inch Yumdinger.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely perfect. And I'll Ned rig the 5-incher as well, and the 4-incher.
All right, what else we got, Uncle Frank, as we wind down day 4, number 106?
106, man. Just you guys, you got to get on there and check out the deal.
Lost for just a second. Are you back now?
Me? Was I out?
Yeah, it's this music when I bring it in. It's the new background music feature in the streaming system we use, and about once every 4 times when I bring the music in, it mutes out the
other
guest.
Audio.
Yeah, which happened to be you with the exit of the show. So I was trying to make
Do they know who I am?
I was trying to make the exit more dramatic, and in the process, all we have is epic rock full, and then we drown out the epicness of the exit. So it's counterproductive. But we're back.
I'm just going to sit here. Just go to LureNet. Look at all the deals. March Madness. Okay, ready.
You heard it. There you go. All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with Frank Scalish. Next week, we will be live on the 16th. Final show before the Classic.
Excellent.
We'll talk to everybody next week. Frank, be safe on the road as you head to get the vessel back in shape.
It's got to start running, or I'm buying a new motor.
See ya.